Did you ever tell yourself you can't eat that, you can't eat this, followed the next diet trend, can't eat after a certain time, avoided social events, tired, overtrained, always craving more? It's hard to overcome those thoughts you get stuck in a cycle with, but they are overcomeable and you will learn from your mistakes. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to be doing a little Starbucks festive drink catch up talk with me type video, mainly about my weight gain journey. For those of you that have followed my journey for quite a while, you know that I went through a weight gain phase as I came out of an eating disorder. I will leave the full playlist down below in the description box, just because I don't really want to repeat my journey or what I've already previously said. This is more like going to be answering your questions and queries that I left on my Instagram stories, and then kind of talking from the topics from there. So we are going to head to Starbucks, get ourselves a very delicious and joyful festive drink, and then we'll get chatting about this topic. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, la 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 la. Can I please, what's your favourite anyways?
My favourite is the toffee nut.
Oh, the toffee nut.
With less syrup.
With less syrup. Okay. Actually, someone actually recommended me to get the toffee nut.
Yeah. So
could I have the grande toffee nut with almond milk and vegan whipped cream? Can I have the big one, please?
big one?
Yeah. It's windy out there, but we have our drink. I'll read to you guys what I got. I actually ended up speaking up to the barista for quite a while actually. She was a lovely lady, so shout out to her if she watches this video. I know she did ask my channel and said she was going to subscribe, but you know, hey ho. We have got the toffee nut latte with almond milk and vegan whipped cream. I did ask if the toffee sprinkles were vegan, but they weren't sure, so I said just to save the trouble, let's not get them. But let's have a little taste test of this. I did also ask on my stories you guys' recommendations, and a lot of you guys did say the toffee nut, and I ended up getting the big Starbucks coffee cup because I never used to get coffee from Starbucks in general with milk and whipped cream and all the other lovely little toppings inside, so we went big or go home, you know. Oh my goodness, guys. If we talk about festive, that is festive. Let's have a look at this vegan whipped cream. Oh, that is beautiful. I'm gonna drive away home now because I don't really want to have the conversation here in the middle of the street. I'm gonna park up and then we are gonna get talking about this topic. Radio, we are all parked up. I can't have enough of this drink, it's delicious. The lady also did say that the hot chocolates can also be made vegan, so I must try that, but I wasn't feeling a hot chocolate just yet. I'm feeling hot chocolate maybe in the afternoon, maybe in the evening, who knows. I am gonna go see Linda Sun this evening, and if you want to watch that, it will be in my 3-day vlog that I would put out before this video. It's gonna be very fun. But let's get started, shall we? So firstly, I just wanna overall speak about my weight gain journey, and for those of you that haven't watched the actual playlist, this is a little bit of a rundown. So I started my fitness journey around the age of 14/15/16. It was all because of a comment that was made and a goal that I wanted to achieve for such a silly thing. So I tried to achieve it and went the wrong way about it, because back then, I can't recall what year it was, but there was many things in magazines that I was reading because Instagram was only just getting started. And so we would use magazines to compare whereas now we have Instagram to compare ourselves to other women. And this kind of comparison wasn't really a healthy comparison because of the headlines, because of the articles, of comments they made about celebrities. So obviously when a young vulnerable girl is reading that sort of thing and she has her peers kind of doing the same thing as well, it's not going to really lead to anything that is going to be healthy. So I restricted my diet for a numerous amount of years until I really got into fitness. That's just a very broad overview. I met my boyfriend, we got into macros and stuff like that. My boyfriend has 6-pack hard rock abs.
Oh yeah.
So I was always inspired by that and admired them and really wanted abs myself, which drove me even worse than actually before. So I was, although really active and healthy in the sense that I was really moving my body and lifting weights and getting stronger, I wasn't fueling my body enough to actually retain that and maintain, as well as being a healthy functioning woman. After that, being on Instagram, being online, growing a following, there were many comments being made about myself and how I was a bad example and so. And that actually really did make me reflect in 2020. That's when it hit me hard, and I started then kind of sharing my fitness journey on YouTube and Instagram as this weight gain journey and trying to overcome the fear of eating, overcome the fear of weight gain, which has led me up until today. And for those of you that have followed along with that journey, thank you so much, because I do really thank a lot of you for kind of spotting my areas and telling me constantly, because at first I used to find it very like, it used to get me very angry and I used to be very defensive, and anyone who inboxed me about it, like, I would be quite a defensive person, but in a nice way, just mainly frustrated about myself, but knowing they were right at the same time, if that makes sense. And if you're one of those, I'm really sorry. And now that I have overcome this and shared it online, many of you guys that did write those like inboxes and messages and stuff have written back to me, and I have apologized, and we've also talked about like what we've learned from that lesson and so. Up until now, I still get messages of girls saying they unfollowed me for my restriction days and they are now following me because they see me as a good example, which for me is absolutely incredible, and I couldn't ask for anything more, because that's all I want to be. I want to be someone that someone could look up to and motivating. If I think about Grace, my younger sister, I wouldn't want her to be inspired by someone who is sharing something that isn't going to lead her life in a positive way, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would say my content now is all about healthy living, take it as you will, being a happy person, but obviously we all have their moments, like we have our mental health. Everybody suffers with those down days, but at the same time, overall, life is good right now for me. But let's jump on to the questions, because I think we kind of talked about the overview quite well there. I kind of like put these into summary because I got many questions, because I always get many questions, and that actually reflects how many girls are suffering from this kind of disordered eating, fear of weight gain sort of thing, and so many relate to this topic as well. Hence why I love sharing it online and making people acknowledge it, because I wish I had that acknowledgement when I was going through that. It took me many comments and comments from my family members to get me to where I am today. So these are why I make these videos. The first one is how not to worry about weight gain. Guys, weight gain can be scary, and I can tell you that because obviously I went through it. Like, you get yourself in a rut, you look at yourself in the mirror and you think you've gained weight overnight. It's not true. You can't gain weight overnight. Scientifically, that's a fact. I'm not going to get into calories and all the science behind it, because that's just too much detail that we don't want to know, right? So weight gain, it can be scary, but if you are gaining weight to recover from an eating disorder, to recover from amenorrhea, which many people can relate to, then it shouldn't be scary. It should be a sign of progression, a sign that you're improving yourself and getting to a healthier state. Because I can tell you, those 7 years which I lost my period to, it was probably the worst years of my life. I really did restrict all forms of events. I neglected my family in the sense that whenever they invited me for meals out, I would say no, and if I did, I would bring my meal prep. I specifically remember going to dates with my boyfriend. Imagine this. He would have the thing on the menu and I would bring my meal prep. I need no say no more. No longer do I live those days. I go all out at restaurants and fully enjoy myself and have the options that I want rather than picking items on the menu which are safer. I kind of swayed off topic there, but that's what I'm all about. I ramble a lot, so if this is making no sense, let's just go with it. I hope I answered that. Do not worry about weight gain, guys, if it's in a positive light, okay? So be it if you're at an event, you're enjoying festive activities like this holiday period, or you're going to a restaurant and there's a big meal on the table, you're gonna overeat, and you know what? It doesn't matter. Like, I'm just talking generally day-to-day life. You just enjoy the foods that you enjoy in a regular amount. You don't have to go over top, you don't have to binge. Personally, I've never been through a binging state, let's say it, but overall we want to talk about this word, balance. Do I still calorie count? This is quite a big question and a big topic for many because they're always interested on whether I still calorie count. Now, if I was to say I do, people would get offended by that. If I was to say I don't, people would still have opinions about that. There is no wrong or right way in the process of gaining weight. As long as you're doing it in a way that is good for you and is going to help you, progression is key. For me, tracking my macros during my weight gain phase was actually really useful because I could see how much I was eating and I can see how much I could maintain and still feel full and still feel satisfied. It made me learn how my hunger cues work. It made me learn about nutrition labels and stuff like that. So I do regularly track my macros, not on a daily basis, I would say on a weekly basis, just to check in and see where I am. Overall, I would say I would intuitive eat, which really just means eating with your hunger cues, but macro tracking, there is no issue with it. Okay, fair if it is going to drive you insane, because I know for some people it doesn't work or they really do get strict with it, then you should just drop it and learn to actually like sync in with your hunger cues, which I haven't fully adopted myself because I've been in this weight gain phase for, I'd say, 1.5 years. I'm just being honest here, guys. I haven't fully learnt it, but like I say, progression is key. I hope that sort of answers the question, and I hope you guys don't have any like harsh opinions about that, because I do get a lot of harsh opinions when it comes to calorie counting. But like I say, I don't do it obsessively in the way that I did, because I'm telling you, the way that I did before, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. The gram extra, I'd take it away. That is not me no longer. This Starbucks drink, I haven't tracked today. The whole day, I'm not going to track. I'm going out with a meal with Linda this afternoon. I don't want to know how much is in it. It's just a waste of time to fill it in that app, which is not going to really help me or benefit me at all. This whole thing with tracking macros is just a progress tool. Like, you don't have to do it every day the way that I did for almost 7 years. Experience with weight gain distribution. Now, when people talk about weight gain distribution and how they compare their weight gain to mine, I would give one advice. Do not compare yourself to anyone's weight gain journey, please, because a large amount of it, fat distribution, has got to do with genetics. Genetics is a main factor of where your fat distributes. Like, for me, I am Mediterranean, and typically in my family, a lot of our fat, let's say, goes to our butt, it goes to our thighs, and it goes to our up top, the knackers. And that, for some people, is really lucky in that sense. Other people despise that. For myself, I would rather not have these knackers, but I can't control where this weight is gained. I do have fat around my stomach, and that is normal, and that is healthy, and that is essential. I'm telling you, when I was younger, I used to believe that any fat around my stomach was unhealthy, and that led me to have this like really shredded stomach, which people desire to, of course, but I would recommend not desiring to that, because it was a really unhealthy state in my life, and it didn't really help me in any other way other than looking good. Did I really look that great? Some will say otherwise, but to be honest, it is all about how you feel inside. And although I would say I felt amazing, I was probably lying to myself and others. I just wanted to convince myself that I was happy, just to prove a point, just because I had Instagram and I had this thing where I had to look good to be on Instagram. I love the fact that on Instagram nowadays, we've come out of this rut and we've shown like real versus Instagram, that sort of trend. Sometimes it can get a bit too much in what people post, but people do people, you know, you do you. Personally for me, I like to show the real side of Instagram. I like to also show the happy side of Instagram, let's say. Both are healthy as long as you're being honest, right? Do you agree with that? Overall, we know that Instagram is a highlight reel. People like to show their most positive, happier self, their most successful self, and that's okay as long as we take it with a pinch of salt and know our own worth, let's say. How much weight did you gain? Guys, I've never actually really weighed myself unless, well, I used to get weighed by a dietitian and a consultant who used to look after me when my mum was really concerned with my weight. And back then, I'm not even going to put numbers because it's not going to be useful for anyone, but it was just extremely underweight. But nowadays, I don't even weigh myself. It provides no benefit to me at all. Like, weight fluctuates all the time. So to put it into figures of how much weight I gained, I don't know. I can just see that I gained weight, but in a healthier way, to have my period, to have healthy hair, to have nails that actually grow when I don't bite them off, and to actually have energy, be positive, be happy, have laughter. All these things that I didn't have when really restricting myself, tracking macros religiously, ignoring social events, and focusing on just losing weight. It was just like a vicious cycle of trying to lose weight, trying to maintain it, and not wanting to gain weight. It was just a period of time where I really struggled, and I just really don't want to go back there. And I hope this convinces you to try and come out of that rut yourselves if you are going through that. And if I was to give some advice to those that are going through that phase, number one, I would recommend actually watching my weight gain playlist, because I believe it was really useful. Like, me watching it back, it reminded me of why I started it and why I continue to promote it, because it really does help with me mentally to know that this amount of weight is healthy for me. How to deal with others' comments. If I was to tell you about my mum, it may sound very vicious, but she used to make comments about my weight all the time when I was younger, as I wasn't the smallest girl in my class, let's say, hence why I started my weight loss journey, and she would comment on that all the time. But I think she wasn't doing it out of spite, she was just doing it in a way to tell me to, you know, lay off the sweets or not have that much chocolate during the day. All these things that your mum would usually say just in a caring matter, but little did she know that it actually affected me. And when I was younger, I really couldn't put my emotions into words, because that was just the type of person that I was back then. And then when she saw that I was losing weight extremely, she continued to make comments. By the way, I love my mum, and of course she meant no harm by it, but parents, they have this old-fashioned mannerism, if anyone can relate, where they just make these comments bluntly and they don't mean any harm. They're just saying it, and it was quite brutal because I took it literally. So she used to call me skinny and stuff like that, and all these words which you wouldn't want to really be called at that age. And I got seen by a dietitian, a consultant she took me to because she was so worried. But she would continue to make these comments, and what I learned from it is that people will make comments. My colleagues make comments, not about me, but about themselves. They will talk about their thighs. They will talk about other things, about their food consumption, about how much alcohol they shouldn't have had during the weekend, or how much food they shouldn't have had, and which weight loss journey trend type thing they're going to do next, and which diet phase they're going through. People will always make comments, and it may do trigger you, but I would say get yourself out of that situation by ignoring it, or changing the subject, or actually telling them what you're going through, and telling them that these things can be quite harmful, because just being honest can help people realize that these things do exist. These thoughts in your head can actually really affect you and your health. How to avoid feeling anxious about social events and festivities. As we are in the holiday of Christmas, there is going to be loads of social events and loads of festivities to come. For me, in the previous years, that was really hard to deal with, and I really do sympathize for those struggling with an eating disorder this year, because it is a big year. We've come out of lockdown in the UK, and people are really gonna go wild with the festivity activities, and especially with my family, we've got loads of events coming up. My mum's got different things planned which are all socially around food, and I wouldn't say I am worried or anxious anymore. Like, if I was to compare myself now to last year, even though last year I was improving significantly than other previous years, I would say those thoughts are not even, I don't even consider those thoughts anymore. Like, last year I would say was a big step for me. I really did enjoy Christmas to the fullest. I didn't track my macros, which in previous years I would always track my macros on Christmas Day. It was like a big day. I would restrict all the days leading up for it just to have this big feast, which technically is a binge, but not a binge. I don't want to get into that because I haven't really experienced it myself. But that whole thing around restricting and then going all out on one day just to compensate, it shouldn't be a thing, okay guys? We should just liaise with the ideal balance. But getting on to the actual topic of feeling anxious about social events and festivities, if I had some advice and tell you via experience what I did, I just did it. You've got to put your foot in the water, and you've got to try it out, and you've got to just do it. Which for some people it may sound silly to say have fun, but for those that are going through an eating disorder, or you've been through an eating disorder, I think you can kind of sympathize with what I'm saying when have fun, relax, just enjoy yourself can be really hard to make a comment about, because you struggle with the idea of having fun, you struggle with the idea of food and the amount of food that you'll be consuming on these certain days. So to make that comment and say just eat it is not as simple as it sounds, but me saying to you to just try it can be useful, because my boyfriend always used to say to me, what harm can it do? Like, have one day, have 2 days, have 3 days, have 4 days, have weeks of fun. What harm will it actually do? Will you gain weight? Not overnight. You will not gain weight overnight. By having fun, enjoying yourself during these festive times, having those memories, having those laughters with friends and families, and really enjoying yourself. This may sound counterintuitive to what I've just said, but I can't say no more than actually just try it, guys. I promise you, please, 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 do not restrict yourself this Christmas. And if you can do me one thing, is go and get yourself your favorite Christmas treat and just eat it right now. go to the kitchen and get yourself a mince pie if you have them in stock. Go get yourself a gingerbread man. Go get yourself a Christmas pudding. And just eat it, guys. If you've got a craving right now, like I have for this toffee nut latte, go for it, because I'm telling you, it will do no harm, but actually really make you enjoy it. This is such a big topic, bad body image days and body dysmorphia. I think body dysmorphia is actually on the NHS website as a disorder. It really is a big thing, and it was really a big thing when I was a little girl. And nowadays I feel like this promotion of weight gain is coming out of the phase of body dysmorphia, even though people will have bad body image days. I think they're very like separate topics, and there's a big step in the gap there, because to have body dysmorphia is a lot more serious with having a bad body image days. Like, I've had body dysmorphia in the past where you really do look at yourself and despise yourself, but having bad body image days is completely normal. I still have those days. I will look at myself in the mirror and think, oh, I'm not really feeling good today. Maybe I ate loads the previous day, and that has led me to held a lot of water in my body, which can just be easily flushed away with some water, and your body will just go back to its normal weight. Like I say, weight fluctuates, and I would just feel bloated, which is completely normal. But to have actually body dysmorphia, it's like in your head you cannot get out of this cycle of bringing yourself down and bringing yourself up again, if that makes sense. But if I was to give some word of wisdom for bad body image days, it's like, don't even bother to try and body check yourself. That is another thing, people dealing with body checking. I used to be that person that literally checked my stomach every hour of the day just to see how straight it was. Like, I'm being brutally honest here, guys, and if you're finding this quite triggering in a sense, then feel free to click off, but I'm just sharing my experience. I literally checked myself all the time. I would suck in and see my ribs, I would suck in and see if I had any fat there, and if I did, I would really bring myself down about it and restrict myself more, which, thinking about it now and actually saying that verbally out loud, is a difficult thing to say, and I never really shared that with anybody. I just dealt with it myself. How did you deal with clothes not fitting? I made a whole video about this in the summer, and that was actually on a bad body image day. If you want to go check that video out. Actually no, those were two separate videos. I made that video, and then the following video after that I had a bad body image day after filming that video, because I tried a lot of my clothes on and of course they didn't fit because I had gained weight. But I kind of reflected and took myself on a date and really actually celebrated life and celebrated what I've overcome, because you have to think and reflect on yourself. I made a reflection video when I turned 24, and to really reflect on the past and learn from your experience is a really good thing, because you realise what you put yourself through and what you learn out of that, if that makes sense. So how to deal with clothes not fitting? Clear out your wardrobe. I'll leave that in the description box down below if you guys want to check it out. It's actually in the weight gain playlist anyways. And that is a big thing. I would say clear those clothes out, because they're no use for you. You do not need to tell yourself, oh, I will try and fit myself into that in a couple of weeks in order to fit in those pair of jeans. No, go buy yourself a new pair of jeans. You've just gained yourself a booty, all right? There is no need to lose it over trying to fit in a pair of jeans. Like, that is not a great thing to aspire to. Clothing sizes nowadays are way off, so even to work towards a size is completely useless, guys. My size in ASOS is different to my size in H&M, to Zara. Clothes are made differently in different manufacturers, so that isn't something to actually think of as a goal. Period chat. Now, I kind of spoken about my period along my way in this video, but I did lose it for 7 years, and I get loads of questions on how I actually gained it back. If I was to say how I gained it back, it would literally be my whole journey of experiencing weight gain, eating more food, training less. And to jump on that topic of training less, because a lot of people did ask also about working out while trying to gain weight and regain my period and really recover from an eating disorder. I continue to work out, which some people also think is counterintuitive or not really helpful in a sense, but for me, working out really did help with my emotions. I work out for my emotion and to feel good, and through the whole of that phase it really did make me feel good. Not because I aspired to lose weight, just to strengthen my body and have that overall feeling of endorphins. What I did do though is train less and less rigorous, because before I used to do 6 times a week, 1 rest day, because I always knew that 1 rest day a week was good. At least I knew that. But it was kind of intuitive because I was also doing 3 HIIT sessions a week, 20-minute intervals with 3 core sessions a week, along with the bodybuilder split of legs, upper body, legs, upper body, legs, and upper body. Nowadays, I only do a 5-day split. Still kind of like a bodybuilder style, but I don't do any excessive cardio. I don't even do HIIT because I just don't really enjoy it, and I kind of force myself to do it just to lose weight. I do lower intensity steady state cardio, but that is just my day-to-day walking, because I enjoy walking, because walking is really, it's a great experience for me. It really helps me mentally and make me think about life. Does anybody go on a walk and just really clear their head? Because that is what I do. I walk to clear my head. But yeah, overall, the big period topic is a big thing. But again, speaking to a professional rather than relying on Instagram or people like me who have experienced it, really speak with a professional, because they're really going to help you and benefit you more than I will. I can only share my experience, and people's experience are always going to be different. My journey will be different to somebody else's weight gain journey or somebody else's recovery journey. None of our journeys are the same, let's say it. We could also be relatable in some sense, but your journey is yourself, and you're only really going to recover with your thoughts only. You've got to do it from within, and taking my advice can help along with that, but a professional can really, or like a therapist sort of thing, can really boost you up, if that makes sense. I'm gonna end with the question of how am I personally feeling now? What are my holiday plans? Because guys, I've really reached a stage where I'm fully content with myself. Like, I've gained weight and I've fully accepted that. I know it sounds silly and I know it sounds repetitive, and I know I continue to say it. I don't want to say it so often to make it a big thing and for people to say, okay, you gain weight, whatever. But for me mentally, to say that I've gained weight and not think, oh, I should lose weight tomorrow or something like that, or go on the next diet or something bizarre, is crazy. And I know that does sound crazy. I only have a lot of you guys to thank. I only have my boyfriend and my family members' support to thank. And I'm just really content with my day-to-day outlook on life. If I was to answer also about my festive plans, we are going to be vlogging it all throughout Christmas on my channel, starting from yesterday actually, working on to this evening. I'm going to go see Linda, like I've already said. We are going to Oaxaca. We're gonna get some tacos, we're gonna get some burritos, and potentially look through the Christmas markets to get some churros, I believe. But thank you for tagging along with me in this video, guys. I really do hope it was helpful in some sense. I know I did ramble a lot as well, but do drop your comments in the comment section down below. Please speak your mind as well. I'm not going to get offended like I used to get offended, because I'm open for discussion. I have fully learned that actually other people's comments about me can actually help me see sense. Even though I said within the video, ignore people's comments, I mean in the sense that if it is triggering to you, not literally ignore their comments if they're actually going to benefit you. thought I'd throw that out there. Just in case we got a bit confused. But guys, I need to get ready. Like this video if you did like it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more from me. And I shall see you in the next one. Bye.